So here we are, we're in the office, and what we're going to talk about on this video is that really first critical step you need to do, to know, to implement in order to start making money online. And it's a step that not that many people will tell you about, not that many people talk about it. I don't know if they assume that you know this or that, I don't really know why, but when you miss those basic components, you don't get a strong foundation. So it's my goal here, like I said in the first video, to give you some value, to give you a really good idea of, wow, that makes a lot of sense, to have that light bulb go off in your head so that you can really start going out there and making sure that you have this first step taken care of, and then you can go on to the next step and the next step and the next step in this marketing industry of ours. If you want to be a professional, you always have to be learning new things, not just studying them, but actually going out and implementing them, becoming an expert at not everything. You don't need to be an expert at everything. You pick one or two key areas, become expert at those areas, and that can actually be your $1 million idea. But you can't jump all over the place, not have a strong foundation. Everyone who wants to make the online marketing industry or the marketing industry in general your way of making a living, of earning a living, of creating a lifestyle, because when you're in the online space, due to the leverage ability of having a bunch of marketing pieces in play at all times, so even when you're sleeping or out spending time with your family or friends on holiday, on vacation, your marketing is still working for you. It's not like when you go to work and you're trading your time for dollars, and if you're not at your job and you don't have any vacation time left, you don't make any income. Totally different with this space. You can continue to bring in money even when you're taking time off once you get the foundation laid. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is what is that first step in laying a foundation. Think of it as the rebar. When you're building a home, you have to put the rebar in the concrete foundation to make sure it's extra solid. So let's talk about that. I'm going to turn the computer on in a second here, and we're going to take a look at the first critical component that you need to understand in order to start making money online. So let's go over here and look. Okay, so let's break this down for you, and we will be talking about some of the stuff as we go, but I want to encourage you, if you have questions afterwards, go ahead and get back to me either in the comments, or you can send me an email, or look me up on Facebook. I'm really accessible, and I want you to use this training as a first step, as a jumping off point to go out and investigate further, to take some actions, because you're not going to reach your goals unless you actually start moving, start taking action. Any action is better than no action. Even if it doesn't get you exactly where you want to go the first time, you always learn something. Even when you fall flat on your face, don't you learn to watch where you're stepping? So action's going to teach you something. If you kind of follow along with this, I think it'll give you a lot more food for thought, and you'll be ready to really dig in and take that first critical component. So what is it? What's the first critical step to making money online? Now, before I show you what it is, I want you to bear with me, because it's going to seem really obvious at first, but there's a lot more to it. So don't turn off the computer, stick with me. I promise it'll be worth your time. Okay, so what is it? Well, the first critical component of making money online is deciding what to sell. I know that you want to go, duh. But like I said, stick with me for a few minutes, because I'm going to show you why it's important that what you choose to sell is really vitally important. Because really what you sell, what you choose to sell, is going to become some part of your sales funnel, and it's either going to produce profits for you, or it could just be a big money pit for you if you choose something that's not going to get it done for you. So I'm going to assume, if it's okay with you, that your objective is to make money and that you want to make money mostly by marketing online rather than through a brick and mortar that's actually also marketing online, but true virtual business. So, first thing you need to consider are your goals. Now, obviously, you want to make money, that's a given, but beyond making money, what are your goals? Here's what I mean. A business that provides a flexible schedule. Is that something that you're looking for? Are you looking for a business that will keep generating cash when you retire? Kind of like a 401k. Are you looking for something that doesn't require any employees to scale it up? That could be a really big factor in choosing what to sell, because obviously employees are another layer that really makes it more challenging for you to step away. So if you're looking for freedom, having employees probably isn't the way that you want to go. And the last thing on this slide, are you looking to create a business that you're really passionate about? Or are you just looking for the quick buck, choosing a product or business model on the idea that it's trending and it'll make you a lot of money? Now I really want you to give this a lot of thought, because if you choose something that's trending but you don't really have a lot of interest in it, it's going to be almost like chaining yourself to the desk when you have to go and do those activities that you need to do in order to grow the business. Whereas if you're trying to build a business around something that you really have a passion for, something that you always want to do, you're thinking about when's the next free moment you'll be able to go do that thing. I remember the first time, and it was way back when I was in college, that I got into a class where I didn't know that I liked the subject, but then I found out I really did like it, and that was photography. Now back then it wasn't digital, I'm old enough, so it was still in the dark room with an enlarger and trying to load the film into a canister in pitch black. And the first time that I went in there and did that, and was in there for like about 7 hours, and it didn't feel like more than an hour because I was so involved. I was really enjoying the process. It was creative. It was combining a lot of the things that I really didn't even realize I had a passion for. But that's the kind of thing that you want to consider when choosing what you're going to sell, because if you're going to try to sell something, you want to try to, I think for me it's better to do something I have a passion for rather than just something that's trending. If you can combine the two, that's great, and sometimes you can, but you've got to consider those things. So let's move on. So when you sell this, will it provide a recurring income for you? And this is something that I look for when I'm choosing what I want to sell. And think of it this way. Every month you probably have some bills that they come in every month. They're not a once in a while bill like an insurance payment, unless you're on a monthly insurance payment. I'm talking about things like your telephone bill, your cable, your internet, things that are recurring every month. You know you're going to have to pay that bill. Well, this is recurring income is when you flip that around and you are the one receiving those monthly payments. That can come from something like a membership site. It can come from, really it has to be usually some kind of subscription. It could be a subscription to a membership site. It could be a subscription for some type of a tool, or really those are the two big ones that I've seen are tools where they have to pay a monthly fee to use those tools, or a membership of some kind. Now that could go across all kinds of different genres. Then in addition to that being a consideration, you want to know, or consider rather, are you going to be okay handling customer service? And as you grow, that may require you to, again, bring those employees into play. Now, there's always outsourcing and things like that, but every layer always adds a bit of complexity to your equation, so you have to be willing to not just jump in and then think about some of this stuff. You want to think about it a little bit first. And I'll share with you a little bit in a few slides. There's definitely ways to have the customer service part not handled by you, and then that takes a huge part out of the equation for you. The next one really has to do with more affiliate and network marketing type models, and you have to think, are you okay building a team, or do you want to work alone? Now, if you've never been in network marketing or affiliate marketing where you've had a team, it can be quite daunting thinking about leading a team, but it's really just an acquired or learned skill, just like anything else. You may not be good at it right away, or maybe you've had the opportunity in your career so far to have people under you at your job where you are leading, directing, and that's kind of along the same way that it works in network marketing or affiliate marketing. So are you okay with that? Generally, you can make more money if you're a good leader. You can motivate your team, and that usually helps bump up your compensation plan, or your compensation, your income. And the last one on this slide is, are you okay with delivering your products to the buyer? And what I mean by that is, someone orders something from you, do you have to have that something that you're selling in your garage, in your local business, that you've had to rent a warehouse, and then you have to physically take that product, put it in a box, and ship it to them? Or maybe it's a digital product because you want to have that online model, but are you prepared to make the technical learn the technical skills that it will take for you to do a download page, to get that download into their hands, and to follow up on that? It's not as bad as you think, but it is something else you have to consider. Okay, so there's always more, but I'm going to talk about 3 different things that you can do right now as far as choosing something to sell. And those are, we already mentioned them: affiliate marketing, where you're basically selling someone else's product for a piece of the commission; network marketing, kind of along the same lines, you're selling a company's product, they're cutting out the middleman and they're paying you income, but generally network marketing is it's a much more complex compensation model, where you usually have many requirements before you can get paid, different layers of complexity. Sometimes it requires an auto ship where you have to yourself purchase so much or generate so much. So there are many different quality network marketing companies out there. There's many great affiliate networks out there. All the big players seem to have affiliate options now. Look at Amazon has one. You could even look at having your own store on eBay. If you have something to sell, you can sell other people's products on eBay. There's an entire network marketing company where they basically it doesn't matter what it's called, but they basically have people buy stuff on Amazon and sell it on eBay, because a lot of the times you can buy it cheaper on Amazon and sell it for more on eBay. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but they basically that way don't have to handle the shipping yourself, because you will, once you get the order through eBay, then you go over to Amazon and you go ahead and put the customer's address on there and mail it directly. It's like a drop shipping arrangement. So you basically have Amazon fulfill the order, and then you follow up. And the last one on here is to make your own products. Now, most of you aren't going to be at that stage right away, but it's something that you can move toward. If you already have something, then you can certainly look at that model. Just to recap, we talked a little bit about the affiliate, what it is. Again, you earn commissions for selling other companies' products or services in exchange for a percentage of the selling price. Let's dig in a little bit deeper when you're looking at this, and I'll tell you, we're going to talk about a few places where you can find these affiliate offers that you can plug into and help them sell products. But what you need to look at, some of the things are, how much commission are you going to get? Because if you're marketing out there, there's no free marketing. Let's consider that. You can pay for traffic, and traffic's another topic, but basically that just means eyeballs on your offer. You can pay for that, but that's going to come out of whatever sales you make. What if you don't make any sales? What if you bomb the first time out or the first 10 times out because you have a learning curve, and then when you finally make a sale, they pay you about 10%? And you are just digging yourself in a deeper hole. So you want to look for an affiliate program where you are going to get a very big percentage of the total payment so that you can cover your expenses. And the models that I personally like are a combination. So you get a large percentage commission, but it's also a recurring monthly income, which helps you cushion. What I mean is, for an example, I sell a tool package, a marketing tool package, where someone can buy the package for $149 a month. When I sell that package, as long as they stay at that level, I will earn every month a $100 commission. So if they stay a year, I've earned $1,200 from that one customer. And that helps you. The first month will definitely pay for your marketing, and then everything else after that is going to allow you to make profit. So that's one way to help buffer those marketing expenses. We also talked about Amazon and eBay, and then ClickBank and JVZoo. What those are places you can go and basically do a joint partnership with people that have a product that they want to sell. They're looking for people to help them leverage and sell more of their product, so they are offering you, in exchange for helping them, a percentage of the sale. And some of the hot niches right now, now this is not exclusive, these niches, to ClickBank. In fact, the BizOp Making Money is more JVZoo. The fitness, weight loss, dating, relationship, they definitely have those on ClickBank, but you can check JVZoo. And these are only two. You can go to your browser and type in affiliate programs, and you'll get a bunch of stuff. These two definitely will get you paid, though, so you want to kind of look at that. It's really important that you get paid. We'll dig a little bit deeper into ClickBank. We don't have time to go into everything that you could look at, but I do want to give you some guidance on, if you choose ClickBank to look for an item, that you can do that. But before we do that, before we actually go and look at that, I want to dig a little bit more into you choosing a niche, because it's really important that you choose something that's going to allow you to make commissions. What I mean is, we just talked about a few of the popular niches, but if you don't have a passion for any of those, you may not follow through. You start out all excited because you're excited about owning your own business, but then what happens? You dwindle out because you find it to be a chore talking about and producing content about something that you really don't have a passion for. So I really like the idea of going for something you're passionate about. Now for me, I'm passionate about helping you become a business owner, whether it's in the network marketing, affiliate marketing. I just feel excited about helping people create their own business, because I feel like it's the way that we're moving in our industry, in our economy, rather, and it's what's going to get you to those real big goals that you have. So 3 questions to ask yourself, and I'm sorry I'm a little hoarse. What are you interested in? We talked about that. Do people spend money on that? And are there products to promote? Now, let me mention a couple of ways you figure this out. You already know how to figure out what you're interested in. So let's say you figure something out. What I want to And I'm actually getting a little bit of this part of the training from a training within ClickBank. So there's a lot of really great training videos in ClickBank. And I was going to talk about this stuff, and I was watching one of their training videos, and I realized that they really had it nailed down to about a 16-minute video where they talked about a lot of the same things. So I decided to take a lot of that information and pass it right on to you here. So how do you tell if somebody's, well, first of all, let me just go back a little bit, because I want to talk to you about, once you think you have a topic, you want to not be too broad. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Cooking, for example. Cooking is really, really broad, and if you try to make a name for yourself, and that's really what you want to go for, is you want to become known as the expert in that niche, cooking is too broad. There's tons of cooking stars. They're on all the morning news shows. If you typed in cooking, you'd get all of the big name cookbooks gurus. And you probably struggle for a long time if you ever did make a name for yourself. But we have something in this industry called long-tail keywords, and if you're familiar with that term, think of it along those lines. And what that means is, rather than cooking, think of something within cooking that you like. Maybe you like cooking, but what you really like is baking. Not so much the other stuff. You have a real passion for baking. That's still part of cooking, but it's baking. And then I want you to think one more down. I want you to go one more down, one more level down. So instead of just baking, maybe it's baking cakes. Maybe it's baking muffins. Maybe it's baking, I don't know, maybe it's gluten-free baking. That's a big one. You could probably have a really big following with gluten. And that's actually the example that they gave over in ClickBank. Let's give another example, because I think examples are really helpful. Let's say you wanted to talk about, let's see, how about you wanted to do a blog about homeschooling or autism? Autism's a huge, huge, huge topic. Maybe you wanted to talk about a specific level in the autism spectrum and how they've recently changed what they name it. And maybe you wanted to then drill down even further about, maybe you found that animals help autistic kids and you wanted to talk about that. That could be really specific. Now, I don't know how much of a following you would have, but there's certainly a lot of parents out there with autistic kids looking for help, wanting to get their children off some of the medications. And maybe, I've noticed with my own daughter, that having an animal around is very helpful for them. And here's one more example that I have. What about thinking along the lines of the baby boomer generation and something that you can do to help them out? Maybe you're a baby boomer yourself. I've missed it by a few years, depending on which person you ask or which publication has the years in it, but I'm usually just outside of the baby boomer generation, but my husband's just inside of it. But being someone with arthritis, I definitely can relate to wanting to find help for things that I know are going to be a continual problem and getting worse as I get older. So think how you could break down baby boomers into specific problems. Be a problem solver. There's definitely going to be more and more baby boomers, and as we age, there's going to be more and more need for different things that can help them. I've actually considered making a blog around the idea of selling products that can be helpful to people as they get older. Something that can help you. We've all seen them, those long grabbing tools where you can reach up on high shelves, grab bars, things that raise your toilet seat, and there's lots of different areas that you could go within the aging marketplace. and it could be having all kinds of different things on an Amazon store or an eBay store that have to do with aging. But and this is something I talk about in another video coming up. There's definitely ways that you need to market to. You're not going to compete against like AARP, for example. You need to be very specific if you're going to go for such a niche where there's a whole bunch of big players in that niche. So don't go for the whole population, the whole baby boomer population. You definitely need to drill down and go for a subsection of the overall population. And it always helps if you have intimate knowledge of it from yourself or a family member, because it's going to come across in your marketing and when you're telling your story. And that's all part of marketing. And again, we'll cover that as we go forward. But right now, we just need you to really give some thought as to what you want to market and how you're going to get it down there into a small enough category that you can really have the ability to make a name for yourself. Because as you put out a whole bunch of information about this, we'll talk about having a home base and building islands to your home base in another video as we move forward. But excuse me, you really want to have that in your mind the entire time going forward. You've got to know what you're marketing and who your customer avatar is. Who are you trying to sell this to? Because you want to know what their problems are so you can solve those problems. You want to be a mentor. And the other thing you have to be able to do is figure out what your unique selling proposition is, meaning if it was you against one of the big boys, even though we try to insulate against that, but if it was you against, let's say you have a product where they can go over to Amazon and buy that exact same product for $10 cheaper or $20 cheaper, why should they buy from you versus buying over there where it's cheaper? How do you compete against price? And that's one of the things we're going to talk about as we move forward, because it's really important that you're able to do that, because there's no way as a one little vendor that you can compete against a Walmart. Not in price, but there's other ways where you can definitely compete. We'll talk about those. So the last thing in this video, and then we'll close it out and we'll talk a little bit about what's on the next video. And I wanted to take you a little bit into ClickBank as you start investigating, drilling down, kind of figuring out what your niche is. What ClickBank is a place where you can go and get digital books, basically digital books and information products. And this is great because it's delivered digitally. So it's instant gratification when people buy your product. They want it right now. We're in a I want it now society, aren't we? You know, you're like that too. Even when I buy a hardcover book, I still want to get that instant download right now, because once I make that buying decision, I want it now. And aren't you like that? And we're going to talk about that moving forward too. How can you satisfy that I want it now, even if you have a physical product? What can you do right now while they're waiting for that physical product? So all things to talk about. I love the topic of marketing. I'm always learning. I want to share this value with you, and I encourage you to ask questions. So let's go over to ClickBank. Like I said, this is just one of many places you can go to find products, but it's something I like them because they have a lot of tutorials back there. You can learn a lot just from watching those tutorials. It'll enhance what you've learned on this video, and it'll help you take what you've learned here, add to it, because you always want to be learning and adding more. Maybe percolate it a little bit and ask me some questions, and you'll be ready to move forward on to the next video, which is going to take us to the next step. So I'm going to pause this for just long enough for me to go over there and log in, and then we will show it to you and kind of give you some pointers to get started. Sound good? Great. Okay, I've got ClickBank open. We're going to click over to it in just a second, but I want to point out that when you're looking at these products, and we'll look at this more closely in a second, you can come back either to this part of the video. You can do a screen recording of this, or it's in the back office of ClickBank. But if it's easier for you, go ahead and make a screenshot of this right here. the definitions, because they're going to help you as you're looking at the different products that you have to try to sell and make commissions. It's going to help you try to figure out what's the best one for yourself. So let me get this out of the way and let's take a look. Alright, so here I am. I'm logged into ClickBank. Now when you first go there, if you have not opened an account yet, just go to clickbank.com and it'll allow you to sign up for an account. And you're signing up to be an affiliate, not a seller. You're going to be an affiliate. And just to point out, there's a lot of tutorials here. Take your passion and turn it into a business online. Learn how to start out quickly. Grow your business. I encourage you to look at these tutorials. They're really good tutorials. I like them a lot. They're short. You can get in and out. The last thing you want to do, though, is just learn and never implement. Don't do that. Like I said, it's better to ask questions, fall on your face a little bit, get up, get going. But you'll never reach your goals if you don't take action. Stop dreaming, start doing. Okay, so what we're going to do is when you log in, I can't remember if you're going to see this first, but this is basically what you'll see. And what you want to do is go to Marketplace. And let me pull this down a little bit. You then can search to find a product. And there's, if you look down to the left, let me scroll this up a little. These are the categories that they have. I talked about some of the categories that are hot right now. Make Money BizUp, that's more over at jvzoo.com, so you can try that, jvzoo.com. Works the same way as this. You become an affiliate reseller, and then you're able to make sales and earn commissions. They make sure you get paid too on both of these, which is great. And over here, if you were interested in health fitness, you could click on this. And actually, this is the one I'm going to show you about because I know there's a really hot product in here and I want to use it as an example. So click on a category that looks like it has what you're looking for in it, and up will pop the products that they have for you to partner up with the seller and make some money. Now you can also sort by gravity, average dollar per sale, initial dollar per sale, average rebill. Some of the products have recurring income. Remember, we talked about that recurring income, meaning there's some kind of a subscription attached to it. And these numbers, the gravity means basically how popular the product is. If that gravity is high, that means it's very popular. There's a lot of people selling it. That could be good, it could be bad. Good in the fact that it's really popular and you'll probably make some sales. Bad in the fact that the more popular it is, that means there could be some really heavy hitters selling that product, and it could be more difficult for you as a newer person to break in. But if you have a passion and something's selling and you know it's probably a quality product because there's not a lot of returns, then you want to think of your reputation too. You really want to be sure you can get the product for yourself and check it out first. I actually like to sell products that I know are quality because my reputation, I've owned a brick and mortar, I'm working in the online space, and I want to sell something that I'm proud to put my name on, that I feel passionate about. And if you have to sell something, I don't know, there's a lot of mindset that goes into it too, and it has to do with your internal guidance system. If it's out of alignment with what you're doing on the outside, meaning you don't really believe that it's a good product, it's gonna throw a wrench in everything. So, kind of do some checking on the product if you can. So, let me scroll up here. We're under health and fitness, and we talked about breaking it down, remember? So health and fitness is way too broad. You don't want a blog or a main hub about health and fitness necessarily, because that's really broad. Sure, it gives you lots of options on what to write about, but you're not really going to be able to become a specialist as easily in this area. There's always an exception where you can branch out one day and talk about something and kind of turn it back and guide it toward a more specific part. But let's look down here a little bit, because right here, the Venus Factor, new highest converting offer on entire TV network. That means this is the best converting, meaning the number of people looking at this and actually buying it is the highest out of all the products. There are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of products. So that's huge. I happen to know this is a great sales funnel. I actually bought this a couple years ago. It was really well done and it hooked me. And that's what you want to do with your marketing is you want it to hook someone in and pull them in and make them want to buy. So this is a really good presentation. You can actually see the presentation. And if it appeals to you, then it'll probably appeal to people like you. So you want to market to people like you. So just take a look. Obviously this is for women. And it has to do with losing fat and why you're not losing fat and it goes into a whole story about the owner's sister and why he wanted to help her and how he did help her, how he's this big doctor. And he does it really, really well. And it's around leptin resistance. And it just kind of goes into the whole specialty. So you're not in fitness, you're in weight loss, but you're in women's weight loss. And so you could definitely drill down to helping women lose weight. So let's look at these numbers down here because I want you to get an idea of what you're looking for. Now, what you can do, I told you to make that copy. Either you can leave that presentation, my video up with that page and open up a second browser window and put those definitions right next to this until you get used to it. But let's look at this. Gravity, remember we said gravity was how popular it is? Very popular here, 312, that's really popular. Compared down here, 171, still very popular. As you go down, let me see here, find another one here. Gravity, 263. So a lot of these on this first page are pretty high, but this one only has 97.42. Doesn't mean they're bad products, just means they're not as popular. So you have to kind of decide, do I want to go for something really popular that I know is selling, there's not a lot of returns. What I like to do is look for recurring billing. So let's see. This one does have recurring billing. Average rebill 76.77. Average percent sales. Initial sales. So the initial average dollar amount is $44.99. And average percent sale, this is going to include the, if you go back, it should include the rebill. Or no, yeah, that includes the rebill. And then down here, this is saying 76% of the people that buy do sign up for the rebill. So that's a pretty good number right there. So those are definitely things to look at. Now I've never tried to sell this. I actually just signed up for an account. That's why I don't have any stats here, but I just signed up for an account to kind of go through it a little bit as I was figuring out how to best train you on this. This is not a ClickBank training at all. Excuse me, I needed a drink of water there. This is not a ClickBank training. That's a whole nother area. It would take a lot longer. But I do want to give you some basics here. And you want to also start looking up here when you're setting up your affiliate account and you actually get ready, you've chosen a product. If you go through ClickBank to choose a product, sometimes they'll have, you can click on, let me just click on here for you. You see the average percent of the average sale, dollar per sale, $51.91. That's not too bad, right? Some of these are low, 33, 31, 33, 32. And there's some higher ones too. So find something that looks appealing and then do a little research on it. Then when you find something, you can click on the promote. And let me bring this down because it's up too high. Let me see. Okay. It says you can earn 75% for each paying customer you refer to this product. So it'll tell you if you click on promote how much percentage you're going to get paid. That's pretty good, 75%. We talked about having those higher commissions. So, kind of look at a few, and if you can get 75% or higher. Why would you want to go with a product that's paying you lower? You got to pay for your marketing out of those dollars. You can do a tracking ID. I definitely want you to track. We talk about that more later on too, but if you don't track, you don't know which marketing brought in the sale, and you could be throwing money down the drain, or you cannot be redirecting those dollars into the thing that actually produced the sale. So definitely want to do that. And then they're going to talk to you about something called a hopper. I need you to pay attention to that. Hoplink, I think it's called. You want to pay attention to that. Let me make sure. If you look down right here, hops, there's a way for people to steal your affiliate link and send the traffic to theirs, and that is a special way of getting your link that helps prevent that. You don't want people stealing your especially if you're doing paid advertising. You definitely don't want anyone to siphon your hard work off and send it to their pocketbook. So just read. You want to do your research. Read up on this. Look at the knowledge base. Look at the marketplace. And if you decide to go with something from ClickBank, I think you'll be in a good position to get paid as well, because they make sure that you're going to get paid. They handle the grunt work of you trying to get paid directly from a customer, which sometimes isn't always easy, and that's something that I could have added to the slides. Consider how you're going to get paid. Are you going to get paid by a middleman that's going to help make sure you get paid, and get paid on a regular basis so you know when the money's coming in? Because I've owned my own business, and I have friends that own their own brick and mortar businesses, and sometimes people don't pay you right away, and that really can put a really big cash flow problem. You've done all this work, you're not getting paid, so you can't pay your bills, and it can be a really big bad cycle. So this having a vendor to help you out, be the middleman, they have a lot more clout than you do individually, and they know how to put the pressure on if that person's not paying you. So it's all good that way. So I'm going to wrap video 1 up with that, but I just want to take a brief moment here to tell you what's coming on video 2. Now video 2, we're going to assume that you've got your product. Now let's say you did pick something from ClickBank. You've got your niche, you found a product within that niche, and there's definitely a whole thing about creating your online space, your online home base. It could be a blog or a website, someplace where everything basically points back to there. But aside from that, we're going to assume that in the second video, we're going to assume that you have that in place, because that's going to be that could be a whole nother video series, and we can do that later. But assuming that you already have a hub, you've already gotten the basics up. You just were looking for a new product to sell. What do? You don't go directly and get the link and send the people right to this offer, because look, this is really popular and people have seen it already. You've got to find ways to stand out. So what we're going to talk about in the second video is how do you stand out, and how you do that is by creating your own unique, what we call a wrapper, and that's a capture page. And it doesn't matter if you know what that is right now, you will in the second video, with specific components that'll allow you to stand out from everyone else who's already selling this product. Basically jump in front of the line and get those people to look at your message rather than someone who's not professional. And also, it's really important, and I know a lot of amateur newbies aren't doing this, they're taking the link that they give you in ClickBank. They give you an affiliate link. You can take that link, you can give it to your best buddy who this might appeal, you can give it to whoever you want, you can hang it up on posters all over town. But if people click on that, and they're going to go right over and they're going to see this video, this is a really good video, and some of them will buy, but a lot of them won't buy right away. And what you need to be doing, and we're going to talk about this, and you may know this if you've been around a while, but you need to have a step between them seeing your wrapper, the capture page, and them going to see this great professional video that belongs to this offer we were talking about. And that step is to get their email address so that you can have a list of people that are interested in this topic. So later on, if they don't buy this, or even if they do, you can sell them more things. You've got to have a customer list. You're basically building a customer list or prospect list, people that are interested in what you have to offer. That's the other reason you want to kind of be known for this topic. You don't want to have a customer list who's interested in dogs and you start sending them stuff about birds. No, no, no. You keep those lists separate. And then when you have a product that's about what you know they're interested in, then you can send it over along with some quality content, and you have a much better chance of making more money from those customers. And then you raise what we call the lifetime customer value, which is basically how much income do you get from a customer over a lifetime. And you can identify that too. It could be over 90 days, or it can be the lifetime average, which would be, okay, from the time people sign up for my list to the time that they opt out, this is the average. How much on average do I make from each one of those customers? These are numbers you need in order to figure out how much you can afford to spend on marketing. I know we're getting in a little deep now, but I just want you to get a sense of what's coming. So if you found this video valuable, and I hope you'll comment down below and let me know, did I do good, did I do bad, did it help you, was it too easy? Let me know, because I always want to get better as well, and I want to give you the value that you need to make progress. But I also want to know, are you looking forward to the next video, and what are you struggling with? Because it helps me guide you and help you, and that's really my whole, I love to help people, and I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I've been hearing from a lot of people, and a lot of you are struggling with the basics, and you have no idea how to get started, and you feel like you could make a misstep. Basically, you feel like there's a line, excuse me, like there's a minefield out there, and if you step wrong, you're just going to have another bunch of wasted money, and you're going to blow up again, and you've done that already lots of times. You don't want to do it again, or you've never even tried. You've been, in the back of your mind, you're having this internal struggle with yourself. I really want to do this, but I'm really scared. I really want to do this, but I don't know where to begin. I really want to do this, but everybody's going to rip me off, and I just know it. Nobody's really out to help me. They all just want money, right? Any of those thoughts gone through your head? You're not alone. It's okay, and it's okay to ask me questions. I'll try to do my best to get you the right answer. If I don't know, you know what? I've been in this industry a while, and I know where to go to get the answer, so it's all good. Let's just get you going in the right direction. All right, that's it. I appreciate you very much for watching this video. I really do hope you'll comment and let me know how I did, what questions you have, and what information you're looking for to reach your goals. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.